Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Grivanajari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Grivanajari. Sodanana Prahladananda Ranjana. Yasodanana Prahladananda Ranjana. Yamuna Tiha Vanachariya. Yamuna Tiha Vanachariya. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Grivanajari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Grivanajari. Sodanana Prahladananda Ranjana. Yasodanana Prahladananda Ranjana. Yamuna Tiha Vanachariya. Yamuna Tiha Vanachariya. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Grivanajari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Grivanajari. Yasodanana Prahladananda Ranjana. Yasodanana Prahladananda Ranjana. Yamuna Tiha Vanachariya. Yamuna Tiha Vanachariya. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahangsa Parvadaksharya Asadhara Sadushi Srimad. His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Raj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Harival. Glories to these sound devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Putaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vracharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskatyade Sadarne. Om Agyanna Tivarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksuramilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shiguro Shiyuta Pada Kamalam Shigurum Vaishnavam Cha Shirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Vrajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shiva Sakantvitamscha Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Sita Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kapa Druvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patidanam Bhavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadwaiti Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 25, The Characteristics of King Puranjana. Text number 9. Atrate katayishe mum Itihasam Paratanam Puranjanasya Charitam Niboda Gadato Mama Atrate Katishe Mum Itihasam Paratanam Puranjanasya Charitam Niboda Gatato Mama. Rade Gati Shemum Puratanam Charitam Niboda Gadato Mama Other day Kati Shemum Idiyasam Bharatanam Ranjana Charitam Gadato Mama Today Gadi Shemum Vyasam Bharatanam Yacharitam Bodhagarato Mama Tete Gati Semum Sambharatanam Anjanasya Charitam Bodhagarato. Ladies, Atate Gati Shemam Vyasambharatanam Anjanasya Charitam. Varatanam Atra herewith te unto you katayishe katayishe I shall speak amum on this subject matter itihasam history Puratanam, very old. Puranjanasya, in the matter of Puranjana. Charitam, his character. Niboda, try to understand. Garataha, mama, while I am speaking. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In this connection, I wish to narrate an old history connected with the character of a king called Puranjana. Please try to hear me with great attention. Purport: the great sage Narada Muni turned toward another topic, the history of King Puranjana. This is nothing but the history of King Prachinibarhishat, told in a different way. In other words, this is an allegorical presentation. The word Puranjana means one who enjoys the body, one who enjoys in a body. This is clearly explained in the next chapters, because a person entangled in material activities wants to hear stories of material activities. Narada Muni turned to the top of King Puranjana, who was none other than King Prachinibarhishat. Narada Muni did not directly deprecate the value of performing sacrifices which animals are sacrificed. Lord Buddha, however, directly rejected all animal sacrifice. Srila Jayadeva Goswami has stated, Nindasi yagya videra ahaha Shruti Jatam. The word Shruti Jatam indicates that in the Vedas, animal sacrifice is recommended. But Lord Buddha directly denied Vedic authority in order to stop animal sacrifice. Consequently, Lord Buddha is not accepted by the followers of the Vedas, because he does not accept the authority of the Vedas. Lord Buddha is depicted as an agnostic or atheist. The great sage Narada cannot decry the authority of the Vedas, but he wanted to indicate to King prachinibarishat, that the path of karma kanda is very difficult and risky. Foolish persons accept the difficult path of karma kanda for the sake of sense enjoyment. And those who are too much attached to sense enjoyment are called mudhas, rascals. It is very difficult for a mudha to understand the ultimate goal of life. In the propagation of the Krishna consciousness movement, we actually see that many people are not attracted because they are mudhas, engaged in fruitive activity. It is said, Upadesho imukhanam prakopaya nashandaye. If good instructions are given to a foolish rascal, he simply becomes angry and turns against the instructions instead of taking advantage of them. Because Narada Muni knew this very well, he indirectly instructed the king by giving him the history of his entire life. In order to wear a gold or diamond nose pin or earring, one has to pierce the ear or nose. Such pain endured for the sake of sense gratification is endured on the path of karma kanda, the path of fruitive activity. If one wishes to enjoy something in the future, he has to endure trouble in the present. One wants to become a millionaire in the future and enjoy his riches, he has to work very hard at the present moment in order to accumulate money. This is karma kanda, kandya. Those who are too much attached to such a path undergo the risk anyway. Narada Muni wanted to show King Prachinibarishat how one undergoes great troubles and miseries in order to engage in fruitive activity. A person who is very much attached to material activity is called Vishayi. A Vishayi is an enjoyer of Vishaya. Which means eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Narada Muni is indirectly indicating, through the story of King Puranjana, that eating, sleeping, mating, and defending are troublesome and risky. The word itihasam, history, and puratanam, old, indicate that although a living entity lives within the material body, the history of the living entity within the material body is very old. In this regard, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung Anadi Karma Pale Padi Vavarnava Jale Karibari Ne Dehi Upaya. Due to my past fruitive activities, I am fallen to the water of material existence, and I cannot find any way to get out of it. Every living entity is suffering in this material existence from past activities. Therefore, everyone has a very old history. Foolish material scientists manufacture their own theories of evolution, which are simply concerned with the material body. But actually, this is not the real evolution. The real evolution is the history of the living entity who is Puranjana, living within the body. Sri Narada Muni will explain this evolutionary theory in a different way for the understanding of sane persons. The verse again. Atrate kati shemam itihasam paratanam puranjanasya charitam ibodha gatato mama. In this connection, I wish to narrate an old history connected with the character of a king called Puranjana. Please try to hear me with great attention. Om Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatindeve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskatyade. And the purport Prabhupada uses the word mudha, which Krishna uses many times in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Namam diskritam mudha, prapadante naradama, maya aprita asuram ashritya, asuram bhavam ashritya. So, and abhijananti mamudha manushim dhanum ashrityam prambhavam ajanato mamabhuta beheshwaram. So mudha is the beginning of the lowest, mudha is on the lower platform of material existence. Those who, or as Krishna says, yakshastrim vidim usrija vartate kamakarata asasidim avapnoti nasukam na param gatim. Those who give up Shastra and act whimsically can have neither peace nor happiness nor the supreme destination. So the mudhas are the beginning of those who don't follow the Shastra. Of course, mudha means they, as Prabhupada writes in the commentary, they're very much attached to eating, sleeping, mating, defending, but there's no rule and regulation how they do it. They think, or as Krishna says, Chintyam aparayam cha pralayantam upashitya kama pabhoga paramam etavam iti nischita asha pasha suterabada kama kroda parayana ihanti kama bhogartha anyayana artha sanchaya. They believe that to gratify the senses unto the end of life is the prime necessity of human civilization, and therefore there can be no measurement to their anxiety. Being bound by hundreds and thousands of desires, by lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense enjoyment. In other words, they have no knowledge. Why do they don't have any knowledge? Because they're mudhas. And why are they mudhas? Because they have no knowledge. And why don't they have any knowledge? Because Dayato Vishayam Pumsam Sangaste Shuprajayate Sangas Sanjayate Kama Kama Krudo Vijayate. That's how the material nature works. But we have no knowledge of the fact that we're spiritual beings and that we should regulate our senses and mind according to the directions of Shastra. Then we'll be looking around in the material world trying to find some object to gratify our senses. The senses will always be demanding in the material world. And basically speaking, the senses, whether it be whatever sense of sight or taste or smell or hearing or touch or moving about, they're demanding gratification. They call vegams. And one who thinks that the goal of life is to satisfy the vegams of the body without any other consideration, then they'll be looking around in the material world trying to find some object to gratify their senses with. But that's all illegal. If you enter into a store and you're looking around to see what you can steal, then you'll be arrested for stealing something from a store. Similarly, if we look around the material world and we look for some object to gratify our senses with no relationship to service to Krishna, then the result is we'll become arrested by Maya. And Maya will put us into a prison house. And what is that prison house? It's a misidentification with our gross and subtle material bodies. That's called the prison. And the result of that, being looking around, that lust will be there, will be impelled to gratify will be encouraged or impelled to gratify our desire to gain some material object for sense gratification. And if we can gratify our senses with that object, then we'll become greedy for more gratification. And eventually, either our resources will run out, we won't have any more resources to acquire more objects for sense gratification, or we'll get disgusted with that particular object or objects, and we'll become angry and frustrated that I can no longer gratify my senses with that object. People may like ice cream, but there's only so much ice cream they can eat before they either get disgusted or sick. So it is like that with every object in the material world. After a while, it becomes tasteless or disgusting. And we become frustrated or angry. And in that anger, we create Maya creates a whole idea, a whole imaginary, illusory scenery for ourselves. Living in the material concept of life, we actually believe that we're a center of some drama that's going on, and that we're the hero or the heroine in some drama. Although we're very insignificant, we come and go, no one will notice. So many Brahmas have come and gone, no one notices. Brahma at one time was very prominent. He was our Brahma, well, there was some Brahma in some universe. He was very prominent. Everyone was thinking of Brahma. Everyone was serving Brahma. But now, no one knows where that Brahma is, the soul who was in that Brahma's body. He may have gone back to Godhead, or he may have become an ant in this universe now, and no one cares for him. Similarly, we're probably not going to be Brahma in the near future. We will leave this body in the near future. And what difference will it make? Because if we perform some devotional service, then we may have done something good for ourselves and for others. Otherwise, everyone comes and goes, and no one really cares after some time. So, if people simply are trying to gratify their senses, then the result is they create a world where they imagine themselves to be much, much more important than they actually are. Matter of fact, the whole universe has no real significance because it's simply the dream of Mahavishnu. It has no reality, it's simply temporary to fulfill the mental concoctions of the conditioned souls. But it's just a dream, ultimately, of Mahavishnu. The only positive part about it is that we can desire to fulfill Krishna's desires, and therefore, instead of a dream under the external energy of Krishna Yogamaya, we can be experiencing Krishna's energies trying to deliver other conditioned souls in the form of Yogamaya. And if we remain deluded by the illusory energy, then we forget even more who we actually are. We forget whatever contact we have with reality, and we lose our intelligence and become further and further entangled in the illusory energy up to the point of becoming an Indragopa germ. We can become a germ so that Prabhupada pointed out that they're living entities so small that they're the size of the dot on the page of this book. And there are germs inside of them called Indragopa germs. So But we can also become an Indra Gopur germ, be the head germ in some little insect the size of a dot on a page, and think ourselves the master of the universe. In any case, this is called mudha, no understanding of one's actual position, simply endlessly gratifying the senses. Trying to gratify the senses are never becoming satisfied. But if we become caught up, Dumena Vriyate Vanira, Yatardar Sho Malena Cha, Ta Gane Vrita Garabas, Ta Malena. Dumena Vriyate Vanira, Yatardar Sho Malena Cha, Yata Arabas, Ta Tenemam Abritam. Just like the fire is covered by smoke, or the embryo is covered by the womb, or the mirror is covered by dust, so the living entity is covered by different degrees of lust. Aritam Gyana Etena, Gyaneno Nityavarina, Kamarupena Kuntya Dusprena Analena Cha. Thus a man's pure consciousness is covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. Not a very happy picture to be caught up in material existence, imagining ourselves very important, imagining ourselves making progress in some sphere of life, only to have it all taken away from us, life after life. So what is the solution? Tasmat tvam indriyaya inya, tasmat tvam indriyayam do, niyam yabaratarshava, Papmanam prajihiyenam jnana vijnana nashana. Therefore, our origin at the very beginning curbed this great symbol of sin lust by regulating the senses and slay the destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So we have to perform devotional service. And we have to chant Hare Krishna. We have to put our minds in Krishna while we're doing our work, whatever we're doing, and by Krishna's presence, then the darkness of ignorance, by the internal energy of Krishna, by the ecstasy of devotional service, then the external energy will be replaced by the internal energy of Krishna. And instead of feeling lust, which is burning like fire, we'll feel ecstasy, which is another kind of fire. So, here it mentions Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Vishaya Bandha. What's that? What does Narottam Das say? Is it pots of poison? Yeah, so they're very much attracted to those who follow the Vedic culture, some inspiration to follow the rules and regulations, hoping to get some benediction. Those who are in the bodily concept of life, they're looking forward to some better material existence. Freedom from anxiety, nice material association and existence, nice food, nice clothing, nice water, nice relationships, nice understanding of how the material world works so we can help others eat, sleep, mate, and defend in a nice way, and ultimately to get out of all material existence and merge in Brahman. So the Vedas attract people by these allurements of how to actually improve material existence. And those who follow it, they're considered to be pious. But one simply winds up in material existence, better material existence. She'll probably compares it to being in a prison, but instead of being in a Class C prison cell, one is in a Class A prison cell. One is still in prison, but it's a nicer prison cell. One feels proud. I see around me everyone is in prison, but my prison cell is nicer. is so beautiful, I'm taking pictures of it and putting it on Facebook. See my Class A prison cell. Aren't I fortunate? The guards only come and beat me once a day. And in the other prison cell, they beat them twice a day. So I am very fortunate. So Narada Muni will try to convince King Prachani Barhisha that you're in prison and perform sacrifices to get a better prison is not a very intelligent way of living in the material energy. The best thing is to perform sacrifice for Krishna and get out of the material nature. Jagnatat karmano yatra loko yam karma bandhana tadartamapi kuntiya mukta sangha samachara. That work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work binds one to this material world. Perform prescribed duties for his satisfaction, O son of Kunti, and this way you'll always remain unattached and free from bondage. So many instructions will be given in the next few chapters, trying to convince us that making material progress is not really progress. Real progress is making spiritual advancement, waking up out of the dream, rather than trying to get a nicer dream. Now, no one likes their dream, because that's the nature of material existence, especially in Kali Yuga. And we can improve our dream, change it from being bitten by a tiger to being bitten by a mouse. It's certainly less discomfortable. There's less discomfort when a mouse is biting us rather than a tiger, but we're still being bitten. Better to wake up out of material existence, wake up to Krishna consciousness, and then we'll realize there is no real tiger, there's no mouse, nothing is really biting me, the soul. I'm simply sleeping, identifying myself with this dream in which this body is being bitten by a mouse or a tiger. So, I think I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
Maharaji, first I want to thank for the nice presentation, nice lecture. So the question is, like Srila Prabhupada is saying that if you instruct a person, foolish person, he become angry. So this is a problem when we go out and we want to say something, so they become angry.
So, for most people we say, "O best of all living beings." What is that verse by Prahladananda? Srimad Kupam, taking a straw between my teeth, flattering you 1,000 times, "O great sadhu." So that's how we approach people. By your effulgence, I'm blind. I'm becoming blind. You're a great intelligent person. And people think, oh, they will not become angry. They'll think, oh, here's an intelligent person. He has some real vision. He knows the truth. So they'll become very happy and say, oh, my great servant, oh, my great devotee, how can I benedict you? How can I show you my prowess and give you some benediction? And then Prahladananda Saraswati Prabhu says that, my dear sir, just give up all your crazy ideas and take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the only benediction I request from you.
Thank you, Maharaj. In this regard, Prabhupada is pointing that Narad Muni is, see, he is also clever to explain. That is why he is teaching him in the metaphorical way. That he is saying, Puranjana, this is the very famous history of Puranjana. In this way, he is convincing him that he is actually, Narad Muni is telling the story of Raja Prasin Barhisar, but in this story form, and this is a very interesting form. In this way, we can instruct.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you, Maharaj. In this particular episode, we see that the king Parjani Bharishad, he is engaged into fruitive activities, and Narad Muni is coming to guide him. But before this, we see the 10 sons of the same king, the Prachetas. The king himself has ordered all his sons to go and perform austerity, and which is being translated as devotional service. So my question is that how come he himself is engaged into fruitive activities where he is guiding his sons to perform devotional activities?
He didn't ask them to perform devotional activities. He asked them to perform austerity so they can come to the platform he's on and perform fruitive activities. It so happens that Lord Shiva met them, gave them some benediction, and then later on, Narada Muni met them and enlightened them. Well, without such a association, they would have been doing the same thing King Parhishat was doing.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, actually, sometimes it is heard that this universe, 8 energies, 8 material energies are energy of Krishna, and there is a casual ocean, there is a Virjanadi, and when we have to go to the spiritual world, we have to go through them also. And sometimes it is also heard that it's just a dream actually of Mahavishnu is laying and seeing dream. So could you explain a little bit more?
Well, dream doesn't mean it's unreal. This means it's temporary. Our dreams actually have a reality to them because they're a play of Krishna's subtle energies. It's not that they don't exist, but they're just temporary. So to say that something's a dream doesn't mean it doesn't exist, it just means it's temporary.
Related to this, I would also like to say, sometimes in dream we see ourselves along with the persons, other person also. So are they also existing even for a short time?
Everything's existing for a short time in the material world. But we don't really know, we don't see how these energies are actually working. We actually have some imagination how they're going on. We have the wrong conception. We don't see how Krishna is moving everything through his energies. We think we're doing things rather than just desiring, and Krishna arranging to fulfill our desires through his material energies. We think we're doing these things. So that's also a goal. Not only we're in a dream, but we're also in an illusion.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. The context of Krishna Priya Prabhu's question, I have thought that if you drink the fed milk to serpent, the poison increase. Similarly, if you instruct the wicked person, the anger also increase. But we see when a poisonous snake, but the snake charmer can control a poisonous snake. So a preacher should be expert like snake charmer, that he can control the wicked person, and like Narad Muni.
Okay, anything else? Yes.
you're telling about we have to regulate the senses in order to advance in Krishna consciousness. We have to regulate the senses, and that will help us in advance in Krishna consciousness. So we have seen my thing. It's like if you stop it without increasing our intents in the bhakti, just like a bhakti, we may be giving it up, and again we may be taking it up. So how to come out of this?
Well, controlling the senses means to use them in Krishna's service. That we're not the controllers. But when we desire that they be used in Krishna's service, then they're under Krishna's control. That's called controlling the senses. They're under Krishna's control. We voluntarily put them under Krishna's control. And then we come under the control of the spiritual energy. When we become an instrument, we allow Krishna to utilize our body, mind, and senses in his service, we come under the influence of the spiritual energy. So we become enlightened. We realize that we're actually not the doers. We're 1/10,000th the size of the tip of hair in size. And when we don't do them, then the senses come under the control of the illusory energy, the material energy, and we become under the influence of illusion. A real control of the senses means we let Krishna control the senses. Yes. Of course, the sense is controlled by following the directions of Krishna's representatives. We desire to fulfill the desires of Krishna's representatives, then Krishna takes control.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, this Prabhuji was mentioning about Prachina Barhij, what I was also had been reading, that I got a very good impression that he is a very good devotee. Now, Narad Muni is giving an example of Puranjana relating to him indirectly. Like in this verse, 24, chapter 9th verse, it says, in the beginning of creation there were not many living entities, and consequently the very powerful living entities or demigods were appointed as Prajapatis in order to beget children and increase the population. There are many Prajapatis. Brahma, Daksha and Manu are sometimes known as Prajapati, and Bahishat, who was Prachina Bahishat, is the son of Haridhana, became one of them. And then speaking about his sons, in the 13th verse, it says, the word Dharma Sanatana is significant, for the 10 children were all merged in the practice of religion. In addition, they possessed all good qualities. One is supposed to be perfect, when one is perfectly religious, perfect in the execution of one's order, etc. So this gives a very good impression that the Prachina Bahishat and his sons, and he also, and the Lord Shiva, I was reading yesterday and few days before also the same text, Lord Shiva, when he comes, in the same verse it says, even those who are trying to see Lord Shiva, those who are materially detached, Lord Shiva does not give his audience, his presence, it doesn't show. But to them, he was very much favored and pleased by their something like pure devotion, something. So he was obliged to come and guide them. So how come we understand that his life is related to Puranjana's, when everything was said very good?
Well, because religiosity is not necessarily spirituality. One may perfectly follow the Vedic culture for 100 lifetimes and become Brahma. That doesn't mean one is going back to Godhead. It means one has become the best amongst the worst. As I said, you may get the best prison cell in the whole creation, but you're still in prison. Brahma is also in prison. He also has this false ego. He thinks I'm Brahma. Sometimes, like our Brahma may think I'm Krishna's eternal servant, then he's actually liberated. But if Brahma thinks he's Brahma, then he's simply a conditioned soul like everyone else. The most elevated conditioned soul, the most pious and religious of all the conditioned souls, but still he's a conditioned soul. It said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that all living entities in this universe were at one time either a Lord Brahma or a highly placed demigod. So we've all been so-called supremely religious, but we're here now. So just being religious, Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parijaja Mam Ekam Sharan Vraja. So actually real religion is to surrender to Krishna. And one may surrender to Krishna by following religious principles, or even by performing the activities of devotional service. But until one comes to the platform of Krishna consciousness, Krishna prema, one to one degree or another is still conditioned soul. Even at the stage of bhava, the beginning stages of bhava, Bharat Maharaj fell in love with a deer cub. He had to come back as a deer. Although he was practically on the perfectional platform, still it wasn't sufficient.